So we are looking at conjugate of a SURD. We said that the SURD, root A plus root B, has its conjugate to be what? Root A minus root B. And the simple reason is because their product is what? Rational. Let's look at it. If we have root A plus root B, bracket root A minus root B. Root A times root A will give you A. Root A times root B will give you minus root AB. Root B times root A will give you plus root AB. And root B times root B will give you minus B. So you find out that this is minus, this is plus. So this will cancel this. So our final answer will be equals to A minus B, which is rational. This is rational. Let's take some example of conjugate of SURD. Simplify one by one. We have 3 examples there. Solution. The first one is 8 plus root 7 over 8 minus root 7. This will be equals to, remember, what we need to do is to use the conjugate of the denominator to multiply both the numerator and the denominator. So you have 8 plus root 7 bracket 8 plus root 7. Everything will be divided by 8 minus root 7 bracket 8 plus root 7. I said use the conjugate to multiply. The conjugate of 8 minus root 7 is 8 plus root 7. So use it to multiply both the numerator and the denominator. Then you expand this. You expand this, pay attention. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times root 7, that will be plus 8 root 7. Root 7 times 8 is plus 8 root 7. Root 7 times root 7 is plus 7. Root 7 times root 7 is plus 7. This is over 8 times 8. So we have 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times root 7 is plus 8 root 7. Minus 7 times 8 is minus 8 root 7. Then root 7 times root 7, that will give you minus 7. So we use them to multiply. So this will be equals to, you have 64 plus 7 is 71. So we have 71 plus 16 root 7 over, this will cancel this, they are the same. 64 minus 7, 64 minus 7 is 50, actually 59. 59. Is it 59? No. 64 minus 7, here is 7, here is 57. So we have 57. So our final answer is 71 plus 16 root 7. So this is number 2. Number 2, use the conjugate of what? Of the SURD. You have 4 root 3 minus 2 root 2. Bracket, the conjugate here will become minus 1 minus root 2 over 1 plus root 2 bracket 1 minus root 2. So if we open the bracket together, 4 root 3 times 1, that will give you 4 root 3. 4 root 3 times minus root 2, that will give you minus 4. This times this, root 6. Minus 2 root 2 times 1 is minus 2 root 2. Then minus 2 root 2 times this. Root 2 times root 2 will give you what? That will give you root 4. Root 4 is 2 times 2. That becomes plus 4. Remember, minus times minus is plus. So that will now take us to the denominator. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times root 2 is minus root 2. Then you have root 2 times 1 is plus root 2. Then you have root 2 times root 2 is what? Minus 2. So finally, we have 4 root 2 minus 4 root 2. Okay, so we have 4 root 3. What do we have here? We have minus 4 root 6. Have minus 2 root 2 plus 4. Everything is over. What do we have here? This will go, this will go. So you have 1 minus 2 to give you minus 1. So just introduce the minus. Introduce the minus down here. If you introduce the minus, this will become minus. Everything into bracket. Root 3. Minus 4 root 6. Minus 2 root 2 plus 4. That is your final answer. That is your final answer. Looking at the square root of SURD, the square root of SURD. So find the square root of the SURD. Solution. Number 1, you have 12 plus 2 root 35. So let the square root be root m plus root n. Then we now have root n plus root n squared will be equals to 12 plus root 35. Because if the square root of the SURD is root n plus root n, which means their square must give you 12 plus root 35. So which implies that your root m plus root n bracket root m plus root n will be equals to 12 plus root 35. So if we open this bracket, root m times root m is m, plus root m times root n is root mn, root n times root n is root mn, root n times root n is what? Plus what? N is equals to 12 plus root 35. 12 plus root 35. Let me correct something here. Here we have 2 root 35. 2 root 35. 2 root 35. So don't forget that. Correct it here too. 2 root 35. So from here we have our m plus n. Their whole number will be equals to 12. That is 1, question 1. Then you have this plus this is 2 root mn. that would be equals to 2 root 35, because this one they are other square roots and this one is other square root. So 2 can cancel 2 to have root mn is equals to root 35. So if I square both sides, I will arrive at mn is equals to 35. This form my equation what? Equation 2. So if I break down the other equation, m plus n is equals to 12. M plus n is equals to 12. So I can form from this one, I can form another equation such as m is equals to 12 minus what? Minus n. 12 minus n. That's from here. If I bring n to this side, this form equation 3. So if I substitute this equation 3 into this equation 2, all I just will do is anywhere I see m, I put n 12 minus n. So I will have 12 minus n bracket n is equals to 35. Bracket n is equals to 35. And this will be, you have your n square minus 12n minus 35 will be equals to 0. And yes, n square minus 12n plus 35 is equals to 0 factorized. If you factorize is 2 factors, 2 things will multiply to have 35, n minus 5, and n minus 5, and n minus 7 will be equals to 0. So your n is 5 or 7. But recall that your m is equals to 12 minus n. So m will be equals to 12 minus 5, which is equals to 7. Or you have m is also, remember that n has 2 values. It's also 12 minus 7, which is 5. So the square root of the SURD, the square root of 12 plus 2 root 35 is root 7 plus root 5 and root 5 plus root 7. Anyhow, you take it, because any of them can take the value of m or the value of what? N. So take note of that. Take note of that. Let's follow the principle. I expand this. When you expand this, your m plus n is a whole number. You take it for 12. And the one that is in the SURD form, you equate the two. And by solving that, you arrive at this quadratic equation. And the value of m and n will be what? 5 and 7. So, the second question is 8 minus 2 root 15. We want to determine the square root. The same way, let root m minus root n be the square root. You may want to ask, why is it not plus? No, there's minus here. There's minus here, that is why it becomes root m minus root n. So that root m minus root n all square will be equals to 8 minus 2 root 15. So if I square both sides, if I expand this, I'll have root m minus root n bracket root m minus root n is equals to 8 minus 12 root 15. Root m times root n is m. Root n times this is what? Root m times root n is minus root mn. mn. Then you also have another minus root mn plus n will be equals to 8 minus 12 root 15. Root 15. So we have n plus n will be equals to 8 because it's a whole number. This form my equation 1. Then I have my root. Minus is you have minus 2 root mn. Why is it minus 2? Because this plus this will become what? Minus 2 will be equals to minus 2 root 15. Minus 2 root 15. Take note. Minus 2 root 15. So, if minus 2 cancel minus 2, I will have my root mn will be equals to root 15. So I square both sides, square both sides, square both sides, both sides. If I square both sides, I have my mn is equals to 15. This is my equation what? Equation 2. So from this first equation, equation 1, I will have m is equals to 8 minus n to form equation 3. So I substitute 8 minus n for n. So I have my 8 minus n bracket n will be equals to 15. So that if you open this, you get your 8n minus n squared is equals to 15. If I take everything down that way, my final answer will be n squared minus 8n plus 15 is equals to 0. And the factors will be n minus, yes, what will this factor be? N minus 3 and n minus 5, which is equals to 0. So n is equals to minus, is equals to 3 or 5. 3 or 5. So, what about your mu? Mu will be equals to 8 minus 3, which is 5, or 8 minus 5, which is 3. So the square root is square root is root 5 minus root 3, or root 3 minus root 5. So because m and n will take the first position. So that is good. Finally, we'll just quickly look at equation in irrational form. Equation in irrational form. So we are looking at equation in irrational form. Example is, if you are given solve s plus root s plus 5 is equals to 7. Solution. We have s plus root s plus 5 is equals to 7. Take s to the other side. Take s to right side. I take s to right side. I will have root s plus 5 is equals to 7 minus x. I square both sides. Square both sides. I square both sides. I'll have s plus 5 is equals to 7 minus s all squared. So that I have x plus 5 is equal to 7 minus s bracket 7 minus s. So if you expand this, s plus 5 is equals to s plus 5 is equals to 49, 7 times 7 minus 7s, that's 7 times minus s will give you 7s, minus s times 7 will give you minus 7s, minus times minus will become what? Plus s squared. So we have s plus 5 is equals to 49 minus 14x plus s squared. I take everything down this way. I move this one to this side. 5 will come here to become minus, and x will come here to become minus. So I will obtain x squared minus 15x. If I take 5, this will give me what? Minus 44 is equals to 0. So the next step is to factorize the equation. Two numbers will multiply to have minus 44. And when we add it together, it must give us 15 minus 15. So we have s minus s plus 44 plus 44. S minus 11, x minus 4 equals to 0. Let's look at it. Minus 11 times minus 4 will give us 44. Don't remember that when we brought 5 to this other side to subtract, and we have 44. So your s will be equals to 11 or 4. So let's check which of the answer is correct. Let's check. If s is 4, remember that we are looking at s plus the square root of s plus 5 is equals to 7. Let's see if s is 4. So we have 4 plus the square root of 4 plus 5, which is equals to 4 plus the square root of 9 is 3, which is 7. So the correct answer will be equals to s, which is equals to 4. The correct answer is 4. Look at it again. First of all, we take s to the other side, and we have root s plus 5 is equals to 7 minus s. Square both sides. If you square SURD, you know that it's going to be left with what is inside. Your root 3 times root 3. Root 3 times root 3 is root 9, which is equals to 3. So anytime you take the square of a SURD, you'll be left with what is inside. Then we move forward to expand this. 7 minus s bracket 7 minus s. This will be equals to s plus 5, which is equals to 7 times 7 is 49. 7 times minus 7 is minus 7s. Minus 7 times 7 is minus 7s. Minus 7 times minus 7 will give you what? Plus s squared. So you factorize to obtain your s is equals to 4. Now let's take another example here. We have 2 root s minus 11 is equals to 1. If I square both sides, square both sides. You have 2 root x minus the square root of 4s minus 11 all square will be equals to 1 square. So if you expand this, you have 2 root x minus root 4s minus 11 bracket 2 root s minus root 4s minus 11 will be equals to 1. 1 square is 1. So let's expand it one by one. 2 times 2 is 4. Root s times root s is x. 2 times minus root 4s minus 11. Remember, this one is other square root, so I'll give us minus 2 into bracket. This one is other square root, this one is other square root. S bracket 4s minus 11. Minus 11. The same way, if we use this minus 11 times this, will also give us minus, so give us minus 2 into bracket x into bracket 4s minus 11. And this is the same thing as, if you use this to multiply this, minus times minus is plus. So you have plus 4s minus 11 is equals to 1. 4s minus 11 is equals to 1. So if we go further, 4s plus 4s is 8s. 4s plus 4s is 8s. Then you have minus 11 minus look at this, minus this is what? 4 root x into bracket 4s minus 11 will be equals to 1. Remember, minus 2 will give you minus 4. Very, very correct. Then we can now collect like term. We move this one to the other side. We'll move this to the other side. So we will obtain 8x. We move here. Minus 11 we move here. So I have minus 4 root s into bracket minus 4 into s into bracket 4s minus 11 bracket close will be equals to minus 11 move here become what? 12 minus 8. So if I divide both sides by 4, divide both sides by 4, here we have minus root. I can open this place now to get s times this is 4s squared minus 11x will be equals to, I'm using 4 to divide through, here will give me 3 minus 2s. So all I need to do is to square both sides. Square both sides. Square both sides. Square both sides. If I square both sides, I will have this square root side will move. So I have 4s squared minus 11s will be equals to 3 minus 2s bracket 3 minus 2s. So if I open this bracket, I'll have 4s squared minus 11s. That will be equals to 3 times 3 is 9 there. This is 9. Then I have minus 6s. This times this is another minus 6s plus 4s squared. So I can cancel this. 4s squared will cancel 4s squared here. So I have minus 11s is equals to 9 minus 12s. So if I bring minus 12 to this other side, my s will be equals to 9. Let's look at it again. Let's quickly look at it again. We have to solve the equation 2 root s minus root 4s minus 11 is equals to 1. The first step is to square both sides, which means this one will be square and 1 will be square. 1 square is 1. 2 root s square, 2 root s minus 4 root s minus 11 square. We expand. The expansion is very simple. 2 times 2 is 4. Root s times root s is s. Then your 2 root s times 4 minus root 11. This s is under square root, so bring out 2 minus root 2 bracket. This s under square root, put it under square root. You arrive at s into bracket 4s minus 11. The same thing goes for when I use this to multiply this. I have the same thing. Then this 4s minus 11 times 4s minus 11 under square root will give me 4s minus 11. Minus times minus is plus and is equals to 1. So if you factorize, you bring everything together, take this one to the other side. Minus 2 minus 2 is minus 4. Take this one to the other side. 4s plus 4s is 8s. You have minus 11 here. Take it to the other side. You have minus 11 come here to become plus. That is 12. Then your 8s become minus. So if you square both sides, divide through first by your 4 to get 3. 4 divided 12 is 3. 4 divided 8s is what? 2s. And after that, we square both sides. And if you simplify very well, you get what? X is equals to what? 9.
I should save it.
No. Now finally, under this, let's look at this example. Solve the equation root s plus 7 minus root s minus 5 is equals to 2. Solution. You have root s plus 7 minus root s minus 5 is equals to 2. Square both sides. Square both sides. And square both sides, I'll have root s plus 7 minus root s minus 5 all square will be equals to 2. Which means that this is the same thing as root s plus 7 minus root s minus 5 bracket root s plus 7 minus root s minus 5 is equals to 4. Is equals to 4. So what do? If you expand this very well, you will have s plus 7 as this times this. Then you have this times this minus root s plus 7 bracket s minus 5. This will be 2. When you add the 2 together, expand it, you will arrive at this. Plus s minus 5 equals to 4. equals to 4. So if you s plus s there, s plus x will give you 2s. S plus s will give you 2s. Then your 7 minus 5. 7 minus 5 will give you 2. 7 minus 5 will give you 2. This will be minus 2 root s plus 7 minus s minus 5 bracket is equals to 4. So we can take this one to the other side. We can take this to the other side to have minus 2 root s plus 7 bracket s minus 5 is equals to 6 minus 2s. So if you divide through by 2, you will have root s plus 7 bracket s minus 5. I divide through by 2 to get 3 minus s. So square both sides. Square both sides. Square both sides. We have s plus 7 bracket s minus 5 is equals to 3 minus s bracket 3 minus s. Now if you expand this, look at what we have on the board very well. If you expand this, we have from this left side, if you expand, you will have s squared minus 5s plus 7s minus 35 will be equals to 9 minus 6s plus s squared. So s squared can cancel out s squared. So here we are left with what? We are left with 2s minus 35 is equals to 9 minus 6s. We collect like 10. Let's collect like 10. If we collect like 10, we'll have bring 6 this way. Have 8s is equals to, take this one to the other side. That is 9 plus 35. 9 plus 35 will give us 9 times 9 plus 35 will give us